Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to be looking at how you can actually create a new detailed repository on your GitHub account, okay? So if this is the first time you're seeing my video, please hit the subscribe button below. I constantly share videos on data science, financial analysis, and data analysis. And recently, I actually uploaded a full playlist, okay, where we built a full data analysis project using Cargo dataset. All right, so I would advise you go check out those videos. All right, so today we are going to be talking about how to create a detailed repository on GitHub. Okay, so if you are a data scientist or a data analyst, okay, you should actually know that being able to create a detailed repository, okay, is actually one thing you need to learn how to do, because it gives the employers the ability to actually go to your GitHub account, okay, go through what you have done, okay, analyze your project, okay, and actually evaluate your project. All right, so one thing you also have to understand is that most employers do not actually have the time to keep going through a lot of codes or even going through your codes, okay. They just want to go through your readme file, know what you were able to achieve, okay, the limitations you faced during the project and the resources you used during the project. All right, so in this video I'll be showing you a detailed process of creating a complete repository on your GitHub account. So let's get started. So the first thing you have to do is log into your GitHub account. So for the course of this video, I'm going to be using my own GitHub account. So I already have it here. As you can see, I have a few projects here already. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is you simply have to go here and click on create new. So when you go here, when you get here, this plus sign here, once you click on the plus sign, you'll see drop downs here. So you see new repository, import repository, new code space. So where you have new project, what you have to do is go here and click on create new repository. All right, so once you click on new repository, you will see this part here, okay, that will pop up. So what you have to do is go here and give your repository a name. Okay, so let me just create this repository for a financial data set. For the financial data sets we actually use during our cargo projects. All right, we're working on our complete data analysis project. All right, so let me just go here because I already have this project on my GitHub account. Okay, so I'll just give it a name. Let me just say it financial demo. All right, so you can actually give your project any name, okay, that is suitable for you, but just make sure that the name that you're giving to your project aligns to the meaning of the project. Okay, so description is optional. Here we can just say the complete data analysis project on a financial data set from Cargo. Okay, so this actually gives your employer a bit of what the project is actually all about. Okay, so once you come here, you can see that the public is already clicked. Okay, so once it is public, it simply means that anyone on the internet can see this repository. Okay, so they can also make contributions to this repository. All right, but if you want to keep it to private, you can actually keep it to private, where you are the only one that can actually make additions, okay, or contributions to this repository. So what you need to ensure is that all your repositories you're creating are actually clicked to public, else you have decided not to make it public for personal reasons. All right, so once you come here, you see add a readme file. So what you just have to do is click add a readme file and leave every other thing the way it is. So once you have done this, what you have to do is go here and click on create repository. Okay, so as you can see, the repository has actually been created. As you can see, this is actually the name of our repository, and this was the additional information about our repository we actually included. All right, so the next thing we have to do is go ahead and edit our readme file. Okay, so as you can see, this is actually where you make edits, okay, to your readme file. This is where you make edits to your readme file. So this is where you actually cancel changes. This is where you save your changes. This is where you preview. Okay, now let's just say we would WGG here. Let's go and preview. So this is where you actually preview, okay, what you have actually written. All right. So let's go back to editing. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start building our complete repository, okay, on GitHub. Now the first thing you have to do, as you can see, we gave this financial demo, okay. Let's just say financial demo projects. All right. So let me zoom this closer. So okay, let me zoom this so you can actually see it better. Alright. So as you can see, the additional information was a complete data analysis project on financial data sets. Okay. So the next thing we have to do here is, the first thing you have to do here is telling them about your resource, okay? But the interviewers are actually, the employers are actually interested in knowing, okay, your project review. Alright, so they want to know about your projects, they want to know what you did, okay, during the course of the project and the rest of it. So what you have to do is actually give them a project overview, okay? So the first thing we'll be doing here is actually called project overview. So let's just go ahead and write projects. And write projects overview. Just go ahead and remove this sub notifications. So let's just go ahead and write project overview. Alright. So in this project overview, this is actually where you actually tell the employers what you're doing. So you actually tell them what you did, okay, how you analyze the data set and what the project is about. Alright. So like I said, let's just say this is the financial data set you actually performed data analysis on. So I can just say that this is the financial, this is a complete data analysis project. Okay. On a financial data set. Downloaded from Cargo. Okay. This data set was only clean and analyzed to cover the country, cover the product, and country with the highest productivity. And simply add that these data sets consist. Okay. So this component performs indexes in different companies, and they have different products and segments. These projects was actually projects told that this project help the company, their most profitable segment products and content. Okay. So this can actually be the overview. All right, this can actually be the project overview. But one thing you need to understand is that project overview simply tells the employer what your project is all about and what you actually try to achieve, okay, while working on your project. So that is what project overview does, okay. So when you're doing your project overview, you actually need to be very straight to point, okay. It doesn't need to be a very long overview, all right. So you just need to go straight to the point and tell the employers, all right, what they need, okay, to know, all right. So the next thing we have to do is data sets. Okay, data sets. So the employers are interested in knowing where you got the data set from. Is it a synthetic data set, or is it a data set you actually got by carrying out a research, okay? Or is it a data set of a company you're working with, okay? So, or is it a real life project you handled using a real life data set, all right? So this is where we are actually going to say that. So for the course of this project, we are actually building this README file for, or we actually use a Kakao data set. So even though we have mentioned it in the overview, we can still mention it here that this dataset was downloaded from Kaggle after performing for research to ensure that the dataset is of good quality and represents a real life situation, a real life business activities. Okay. Okay. So this is actually where you're going to tell about the data sets, okay. In this aspect, you're going to tell the interviewer where you actually got your data sets from. If you actually performed, okay, if you actually performed the research, okay, you actually gather your data, all right. So this is also where you tell the interviewer that you gather data, okay, from colleagues, from doing field work, all right. So this is actually where you tell them that, okay. So the next thing we have to be looking at is libraries used, all right. So the employers, they are interested in knowing what libraries you are able to use to actually achieve, okay, this analysis, all right. So first you need to let them know that you actually use maybe Arrow or Python in building this, all right. Then you can go ahead and mention the various libraries you use, okay, during this project, okay. The thing we need to say is that this project was performed using Python. Several libraries were used. Several Python libraries were used, such as also one Matplotlib and Seaborn. So these are the visualization libraries I used while working on this project. Seaborn for visualization. Okay. So missing no for understanding pattern missingness, the pattern of missingness of data sets. Okay, so I also use, I think these were the major libraries, okay, I made use of, okay. Then I also made use of pandas, then I made use of NumPy, then I made use of, okay, these were the major libraries you need GitHub. Okay, so in these libraries, this is actually where you tell about the libraries, the major libraries you actually used, okay, to work on your project. All right, so if you made use of Arrow, this is where you're going to tell that you made use of Arrow programming language, okay, for this project. All right, then you tell them which libraries, okay, you actually use. You tell them your visualization libraries. You tell them if you use pandas, if you use numpy. So this is where you are actually going to tell the interviewers everything about the libraries, okay, you use. Okay, so there's something I always like doing in my readme file. I always like telling people some interesting codes I work with. All right, and here I call it data analysis. Interesting codes I've worked with. Okay, so this is where you actually tell about interesting codes you worked with. Okay, codes you found interesting, all right, during your project. Or this also helps the employer to know the methods, okay, or functions, okay, you actually know, okay, in Python or in Arrow. All right, so this will actually give the interviewer or the employer or anyone viewing your readme file an in-depth knowledge of your programming skills and how familiar you are with methods in Python and a lot of things. Okay, so here one method I actually like using, okay, whenever I am actually working, is I actually like using the dot strip. Okay, strip. All right. Okay, I can simply say it. I made use of dot strip to eliminate white spaces. From eliminate white spaces from data sets. All right, data set slash columns. Okay, so another you can actually list any code, okay, you actually find interesting, okay, any code you actually like working with. All right, so another code I actually like working with, okay, especially when I'm trying to actually check the correlation coefficient, all right, is .core. Okay, so I can simply say .core. Okay, sorry, okay, so I use this to check a relationship, to check the level of relationship of correlation between two variables in my data sets. Okay, so this is actually in this part you can actually tell the interviewers any code. It won't even be these two codes. Okay, you just have to tell them any codes you worked with, okay, that you actually found interesting. All right, so this is what you just have to do here. Okay, so if you like, you can actually copy the code from your Jupyter notebook and just paste it here. Or you can simply tell them the method, or and give them an explanation on what you actually use it for. All right, so the next thing is we are going to be checking the steps. All right, so the interviewers are actually interested in knowing what steps did you actually take to achieve this. Okay, what steps did you take in cleaning this data? What steps were involved did you use for your data cleaning and the rest of them? All right, so here, since it's a data analysis project, okay, so the first thing we can actually say here is how we imported our library. All right, importing of necessary libraries. Like numpy, numbers, Seagon, matplotlib, matplotlib, let's see now. Any other etc etc and or any other data or any other libraries you actually used. Okay, so the next thing you can actually do here is maybe the next step is data investigation. All right, understanding the shape of the data sets, understanding the shape of the data sets, and analyzing problems. Next we can see here is data cleaning. We're just say handling missing values, outliers, working, pulling, extraction of categorical and numerical columns, categorical and numerical columns. Numerical column, okay. This is it. So the next step can be exploratory data analysis. So over here we have the variance analysis, bivariance analysis, and multivariance analysis. Okay, so these are the major steps, alright, that are involved in the project. Okay, so in the steps, this is actually where you tell about you actually list the major steps, okay, you took, okay, when handling your project. All right, so this is where you tell people the major steps you took when handling your project. Then maybe how you imported your libraries first, your necessary libraries first, you did your data investigation, all right, looking for the shape of the data and the rest of them. All right, so this steps is actually where you give a detail, okay, of actually what you actually did, okay, on your project. All right, so the next thing we are going to be looking at, okay, the diagrams, okay, we used for the analysis. All right, so the diagram used for analysis. All right, so the diagrams I made use of for this analysis, I made use of bar chart. If you don't actually know the project we are talking about, all you have to do is check my YouTube channel. Okay, on my YouTube channel you will actually see the project, okay, where I talked about building a full data analysis project using full data sets. So that's the project you're actually creating this README file for. Alright, so the next one was I made use of histogram, and I made use of heat map, and I made use of scatter plots and numerical data. Then I know I made use of missing now, pattern of messiness, missing now. Okay. see more. Okay, so the next one I made this of use of line plots, line charts, just line charts. I think I made use of pair plots. I made use of a lot of diagrams. Okay, so but for these were the major ones I used. Okay, so after this, so in this diagram used, okay, so this is where you're actually going to name the various diagrams, okay, you used, okay, during the course, okay, of your project, okay, completion of the web building. All right, so the next thing we are going to be looking at is exploratory data analysis finding. All right, data analysis finding. So this step is actually very important, okay, because in this step, this is actually where you tell more about your project, the insights, okay, you are able to actually see, okay, when performing your exploratory data analysis. Okay, so this is actually where you tell the employers, okay, what you are able to find out, okay, so when performing your exploratory data analysis. Okay, so for the course of this project, I actually made a lot of families. Okay, like I said, the data set is actually a data set for a financial company. Okay, and this financial company, they actually perform businesses or carry out their businesses in various countries. I think it was in 5 different countries. Okay, so I actually had a lot of findings, but I'll be listing just a few of them. Sorry about that. So I think the first finding I have was I found out about the products with the highest profits. Okay, so the next thing is the segment of company with the highest profits. The segment of company with the highest profits. Okay, so the next thing is the products with the highest sales. The product with the highest sales. Okay, so the next thing I actually found out was the relationship between costs of goods sold and profit. Cost of goods sold and profit. Okay, so I actually found out the country with the highest sales. All right, the country with the highest profits, and the products with the products with the highest cost of goods sold. Highest cost of goods sold. Alright. So these are the actually major findings I actually had. Okay, I actually found out, okay, from my exploratory data analysis. Alright. So the next thing we are going to be looking at is recommendation. Okay, so this is where I talk about the recommendation you are actually giving to the company, what you actually think that the company should do to actually change their financial position to achieve more sales or to achieve a lesser cost of goods sold. Alright. So the first recommendation I made here was increasing supply to Canada. Okay. appears to be a strategic move to capitalize on the strong demand. Okay. The next one I said was companies' operations in the United States appears to be highly, let me just say, very successful, okay, generating the highest profit, okay. Right, so I said the company to increase their supply to the United States. All right. And also implement similar strategies in other markets with high potential, analyzing the factors contributing to the sources of the market in the United States. Okay, can provide valuable insights, valuable insight for improving performance in other regions. Okay, so this is actually what this is all about. Actually, in this project, I actually gave a lot of recommendations. All right. However, we're just going to limit it to these two recommendations I gave. So what I just want you to understand that at this stage, okay, this is actually where you actually tell, okay, you actually tell the company or your prospective employer, okay, the recommendation you actually give, okay, or you have for the company, okay, in order for them to increase their sales, reduce their expenses, and achieve better profit margin. All right. So the next thing we are going to be looking at is limitation. All right. So this is actually where you tell. This is actually where you talk about the limitations you actually face. That means the challenges you face when working on your project. Okay. So this is where you tell about the challenges, the difficulties you face when working on your projects. All right. So you have to keep it as short and simple as possible. Okay. So over here, I just say to remove. I had to remove white spaces from my columns, which pose as a challenge at the beginning because I was unable to take note of this earlier, which made it impossible for my columns to be callable. Okay. So this was the major challenge I actually mentioned, alright, that I faced. Okay. So the next thing we are going to be looking at is resource. Alright. So this is actually where you put a link, okay, to the data set. Right. Link to data sets. So this is actually where you put a link to data set in case they actually want to take a look at the data sets, evaluate the data sets, or in case there's some other person that actually wants to work, okay, on the data set and actually make contribution on this data. All right. So if you go through this, okay, as you can see, the first thing we actually had to do was project overview. This is actually where we gave an overview of the project we actually worked on and what we actually achieved, okay, during the project, or what we are trying to achieve. And this is where we talk about the data sets, okay, talk about the libraries, okay, then we talk about data analysis, testing codes, okay, you worked with, okay, then we talk about the steps, okay. So this is where these steps can be 5, 10, 6, okay, depending on you. All right. So we talked about the steps, we talked about the diagram used for analysis, then we talk about the explorative data analysis finding, then we talk about the recommendations, then we talk about the limitations, then resource. All right. So these are the major steps, okay, your readme file needs to have, okay, because most employers don't actually have the time to start going through your Jupyter notebook, your codes, okay. They just go through your readme file, all right, to actually get a proper understanding of the project you worked on and what you were able to achieve. All right. So after you have actually done this correctly, you can simply go here to actually preview. All right. So as you can see, this is what the readme file looks like. The name of the data sets, a brief description of it, project overview, data sets, libraries, data analysis, steps, data use, diagrams used for analysis, findings of EDA, recommendations, limitations. So I actually had a lot of recommendations, okay, for this project. All right, so I just actually reduced it to ensure that the video doesn't get too long, okay. So it is actually recommended that you actually have a lot of recommendations, maybe 4, 5, 6 recommendations, okay. Then you talk about the major limitations you actually face, okay, when working on the data. All right. So let's go back to edit, okay. So that's it, okay. So after you preview your data, your readme file and everything, and you feel like it's okay, all you have to do is go here and click commit changes. Commit changes. Okay, so as you can see that your readme file has been uploaded, all right, successfully. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is go back here. Okay, so as you can see, this is your readme file. All right, this is your readme file. Okay, so now the next thing we have to be looking at is whether, in case you want to add a file, okay, if you want to add a file, maybe your Jupyter notebook or anything, okay. So this is actually how you can actually add it. All right, so as you can see, this is a readme file now, right? Okay, so if you want to download, okay, if you want to upload a file, okay, to your repository, okay, so what you have to do is, okay, so once you click the plus button, let me check that again, please. So once you click the plus button here, all right, click on upload files, okay, so it will take you to drag files here to add them to your repository. All right, so in case you actually have the files already, you can simply drag them to your here and upload them, or you can simply choose file. Let me say, for instance, I want to actually add this file, okay, so this is a Jupyter notebook, okay, I downloaded. Let me say I want to add it. All right, all I have to do is click on it and open, and wait for it to upload. So once it has successfully been uploaded, the next thing you have to do is commit changes. Then you wait for the file to process. As you can see, it has actually been added. All right. So as you can see now, you actually have your Jupyter notebook uploaded. So once you click on this Jupyter notebook, this is actually a project for a different. This is a notebook for a different project space. So as you can see, this is my Jupyter notebook. But please note that this is a notebook for a different project. This is a notebook for a machine learning project. All right. So this is it. Okay. So this is it. All right. So you can simply go back. Okay. So this is actually how you can actually create a new repository. Okay, on GitHub. Okay. If this is the first time you have seen my video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. If you have any questions, okay, don't forget to leave your questions below the video. Thank you so much for watching my video, and do have a wonderful day ahead of you.